Hey everyone, and welcome to the deep dive. Today we're going to get into pet care.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, it should be interesting. So, you might be getting ready for a new pet, or maybe you just want to, step up your pet parent game.
Right.
Either way, we've got this awesome guide called How to Take Care of Pets,
Yeah,
like a pro, and I think it's going to be really useful.
definitely. I'm excited to dive in.
Yeah. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to extract all the good stuff from this guide so you
Mhm.
can be like, the ultimate pet expert.
Sounds good.
All right. So let's jump right in. We're going to start with food.
Makes sense. Got to keep those pets fueled up.
Exactly. And this guide is really big on species-specific diets,
Oh, for sure.
which, I'll be honest, I've been guilty of giving my dog some table scraps here and there,
Yeah.
but this guide's kind of making me rethink that whole,
Yeah.
sharing is caring thing.
I think a lot of us are guilty of that. We often think if it's good for us, it's going to be good for them too, right?
Exactly.
But actually, their tummies are totally different.
Yeah,
And something that might be harmless for us could actually be bad for them.
yeah, that's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, let's break it down.
Yeah.
What are some of the things we should keep in mind when we're feeding our furry friends?
So first things first, you got to understand what your pet needs based on what kind of animal they are.
Okay.
Like dogs and cats, for instance, they need way more protein than we do
Oh, that makes sense.
because they're carnivores, you know? They're meant to eat meat. Their bodies are built for it.
Okay, so that explains why my dog goes bonkers for anything that even smells like meat remotely.
Pretty much.
But what about the stuff they can't eat?
Right.
The guide talks about some foods that are actually toxic, and I was surprised by some of them.
Oh, yeah, for sure. There are a bunch of things that we eat that can really mess them up.
Okay, like what?
Chocolate's a big one.
Right.
You know, it has this thing called theobromine,
Uh,
and dogs and cats can't really digest it.
oh, wow. I knew chocolate was bad, but I never knew why.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. It can really mess with their nervous system and their heart, and it can cause some serious problems.
Wow. So chocolate is definitely out.
Yeah.
Then what else?
Grapes and raisins are bad, too.
Really?
Yeah, even a little bit can cause kidney failure in dogs.
Oh my gosh, I had no idea. I've totally given my dog grapes before.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I know. So grapes are out. Chocolate is out. What else?
Oh, onions and garlic are bad, too, both for cats and dogs.
Okay, so we've got chocolate grapes, onions, garlic. Those are all on my do not feed list now.
Good. Better safe than sorry.
Definitely. And it's not just about avoiding the bad stuff, but also giving them the good stuff.
Absolutely. Choosing the right food is super important.
Right.
You know, you have to think about how old they are, their breed, how active they are, and even if they have any health problems.
This is like a personalized diet plan for your pet.
Exactly. Like, you know, if you were training for a marathon, you wouldn't eat the same things as a power lifter, right?
True.
It's the same with pets. Their bodies need the right fuel.
I love that analogy. That makes total sense. So we talked about what to feed them. Now, what about how to feed them?
Oh, yeah, that's important too.
Yeah. Are there any tips for making mealtime, a smooth experience for both of us?
I think the biggest thing is to be consistent.
Okay.
Like having a regular feeding
It's so basic, but it's easy to forget about,
Yeah.
you know?
It is.
We just fill up our own water bottles without even thinking.
Exactly.
But with pets, we got to make sure they have what they need.
Absolutely. And not just any water. It has to be clean.
Right.
Think about it. Would you want to drink from a bowl that's been sitting out all day?
Ooh, no.
Right.
Okay, so how often should we be cleaning their water bowls?
At least once a day.
Okay.
And, you know, if they're messy drinkers or drool a lot, you might even want to do it more often.
Okay.
And don't forget to give the bowl a good scrub with soap every few days to get rid of any bacteria.
Got it. Clean water, clean bowl. What about cats, though? They're always trying to drink from weird places.
Oh, yeah, they're notorious for that. Like puddles or even your glass.
Yeah, exactly. Why do they do that?
Well, cats are really picky about their water.
Hmm.
They don't like the taste or smell of stale water, and they usually prefer running water.
So that's why they go for the faucet.
Pretty much.
So how can we make their water bowls more appealing?
Well, you could try a pet fountain.
Okay.
The moving water might entice them. And you can also experiment with different types of bowls.
Oh, okay.
Some cats like ceramic or glass better, while others prefer stainless steel.
So it's all about figuring out what they like.
Exactly.
It's like we're water sommeliers for our pets.
I love that.
So we talked about food and water. Now let's move on to exercise.
Yes. Gotta keep 'em moving.
For sure. A bored pet is a recipe for disaster.
Totally. They have so much energy.
This guide actually calls them tiny agents of chaos.
That's hilarious and so true.
I know. If my dog doesn't get enough exercise, it's like a tornado rips through my house.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
They need to get those zoomies out.
Right.
And it's not just about physical health. It's good for their minds, too.
Okay, so it's a win-win for everyone.
Yeah.
But what kind of exercise do they actually need?
Well, for dogs, it's all the usual stuff. Walks, runs, fetch playtime at the park.
Okay.
If they're really energetic, you could try agility training or hiking.
Yeah, that sounds fun. What about cats? They're not exactly known for being super active.
That's true. They love to conserve their energy, but that doesn't mean they don't need to play.
Okay.
You just got to find activities that appeal to their instincts.
Like what?
Anything that involves chasing, pouncing, or climbing.
Okay.
Laser pointers, feather wands, even just a crumpled up piece of paper can keep them entertained.
Right. They're so easy to please.
I know.
Okay, so dogs, cats, what about smaller pets like hamsters or rabbits?
Well, for them, it's more about creating a stimulating environment.
Okay.
So, tunnels, hideaways, climbing structures, even just a spacious cage where they can run around.
Like a little adventure park?
Exactly. And don't forget about mental stimulation, too.
Okay.
They need things that challenge their minds, like puzzle toys, foraging games, or even just interacting with you.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So it's all about keeping them active, both physically and mentally, no matter what kind of pet they are.
That's the key.
And I'm guessing there are lots of benefits to exercise beyond just, tiring them out.
Oh, absolutely. Exercise helps them stay at a healthy weight. It keeps their muscles and bones strong. It's good for their heart, and it even boosts their immune system.
Wow, so it really is an investment in their overall health.
It is.
Okay, so we've covered food, water, exercise.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about grooming.
Ah, yes. Spa day for pets.
Right. But it's more than just making them look good.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
This guide emphasizes that grooming is actually really important for their health.
Absolutely. It's like when we brush our hair.
Right.
We're not just doing it for looks. We're getting rid of tangles, distributing oils, and helping our scalp.
Right. I never thought about it like that. So how does grooming benefit dogs?
Well, brushing helps get rid of loose fur and prevents mats,
Okay.
which can be really uncomfortable for them.
I bet. It's like having a giant knot in your hair.
Exactly. And mats can trap moisture and dirt, which can lead to skin problems.
Dude.
So brushing is really important.
Okay, what about nail trims? Those seem tricky.
They can be, but they're super important.
Yep.
If their nails get too long, they can curl inward and hurt their paws.
Ouch.
They can even snag on things and tear or get infected.
Okay, I'm definitely adding nail trims to my to-do list.
Good. What about cats? They seem to groom themselves pretty well.
Yeah, they do. But do they still need our help?
They do. Brushing, especially when they're shedding, can help prevent hairballs.
Oh, right.
And nail trims are important for them, too.
Okay, so dogs, cats, what about smaller pets, like hamsters or rabbits?
It depends on the breed.
Okay.
But generally speaking, brushing is important to prevent mats, especially for long-haired breeds.
Okay.
And rabbits definitely need nail trims. Their nails grow really fast.
Got it. So regular grooming is a must for all pets, but beyond the health benefits, it seems like there's an emotional side to it, too.
Oh, definitely. Grooming is a great way to bond with your pet.
Yeah.
It's a time for gentle touch and quiet conversation.
It's like a little spa day for both of you.
Exactly.
Okay, so we talked about grooming. Now let's move on to vet visits.
Ah, yes. The dreaded vet.
Right. I don't think any pet enjoys those trips.
Definitely not. This guide even mentions that cats seem to have a sixth sense for when a vet visit is coming.
Oh, yeah, like they disappear as soon as you reach for the carrier.
Exactly. They know what's up.
But jokes aside, why are vet visits so important?
Well, it's all about preventative care.
Okay.
Regular checkups let the vet keep an eye on your pet's overall health, catch any problems early on, and make sure they're up to date on their vaccinations.
So it's like stopping problems before they even start.
Exactly. And it's usually less expensive to treat things early on.
That's a good point.
Plus, it gives you a chance to talk to your vet about any behavioral issues you might be having.
So it's like a one-stop shop for all things pet health.
Pretty much.
But what about emergencies? How do we know when it's time to rush to the vet?
That's a good question. It's important to know the signs of illness in your pet.
Okay.
Things like loss of appetite, lethargy, vomiting, diarrhea, difficulty breathing, excessive panting, or any unusual changes in their behavior.
So basically anything that seems out of the ordinary.
Exactly. And when in doubt, always call your vet.
Better safe than sorry.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we talked about emergencies. What about routine care? What do different pets need?
Well, for dogs and cats, it's usually annual checkups and
Yeah.
vaccinations. They also need flea and tick prevention, and depending on where you live, maybe heartworm prevention too.
What about smaller pets?
It varies depending on the type of animal,
Okay.
but regular checkups are still a good idea, even if it's not as often as dogs and cats.
Got it. So preventative care is key for all pets.
Definitely.
Oh, and we can't forget about dental hygiene.
Oh, yeah, those pearly whites.
I'll be honest, I'm not always the best at brushing my dog's teeth,
I think a lot of us struggle with that.
but they need it just like we do, right?
They do. They can get plaque buildup, gum disease, even tooth decay.
Oh, wow. So we got to make those brushings happen.
As much as you can. And if you can get them used to it from a young age, it's a lot easier.
Okay, noted. Dental care is officially on my radar. And I've covered a lot, but there's one more thing we can't forget, and that's keeping their brains engaged.
Yes. Mental enrichment.
Right. This guide calls it brain boosting.
I love that.
I know, it's like giving them a mental workout. And I've definitely noticed a difference in my dog when he's had a chance to use his brain.
Oh, for sure. A stimulated mind is a happy mind. And it can help prevent boredom, which can lead to all sorts of mischief.
Exactly. So how do we challenge them mentally?
Training is a great way to do it. Even basic commands like sit, stay, come can really get their brains working.
And teaching them tricks is always fun.
It is. And you don't have to limit it to formal training sessions.
Okay.
You can do things like hiding treats around the house or using puzzle toys.
Like a scavenger hunt for dogs.
Exactly. And it keeps them entertained for hours.
I love that.
And don't forget about playtime.
Okay.
A good game of fetch or tug of war or even just some interactive cuddles can be mentally stimulating.
So it's all about finding activities that challenge them in different ways.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So we've talked about food, water, exercise, grooming, vet visits, and mental enrichment. But now let's talk about the most important part of pet care, love, and attention.
Ah, yes. The heart of it all.
This guide really emphasizes that our pets are family.
Absolutely.
They need our love, our time, our attention.
Just like we need theirs.
Right. But how do we show them love in a way that they understand?
That's a great question. Different animals communicate in different ways.
Right.
Dogs are usually very expressive with their affection. They give kisses, wag their tails, cuddle enthusiastically.
Oh, yeah, there's nothing like a dog greeting.
It's the best, but cats are a little more subtle.
True.
They might give you a head bunt, a soft purr, or even just a slow blink.
It's like their secret language.
It is, and
Yeah.
we got to learn how to speak it.
So it's about paying attention to their cues and showing them love in a way that they appreciate.
Exactly. And sometimes it's the simple things that mean the most.
Like a scratch behind the ears, or just sitting quietly with them.
Exactly. It's about being present with them.
Right. It's all about that connection.
It is. Because at the end of the day, what they really want is our love, our time, and our attention.
And that's the end of part 1 of our deep dive into pet care.
Wow, that was a lot of information.
It was. But we've only just scratched the surface.
Stay tuned for part 2, where we'll dive even deeper into the world of pet care.
There's so much more to learn.
Definitely.
We'll see you then.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Ready for more pet care goodness?
Totally. I feel like we just scratched the surface in part 1.
We did. There's so much more to explore in this how to take care of pets, like a pro guide.
It's amazing how much there is to learn about, creating a really awesome life for our pets.
Right. It's like a journey.
It is.
And just like any journey, there are always going to be surprises along the way.
That's so true. My dog can still surprise me even after all these years together.
I bet.
But I guess that's part of the fun, right? We're always learning and growing together.
It is. And that's why it's so important to be open to new ideas and to be flexible.
Right.
Because our cats, they're individuals. They have their own personalities, their own needs, their own preferences, and those can change over time.
They can. So it's like we're always adjusting our approach, trying to figure out what works best for them.
Exactly. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing.
Definitely not.
And sometimes, we need a little extra help, which is where this guide comes in handy.
It's like having a pet parenting manual. But even with a guide like this, it's important to remember that every pet is different.
That's a great point. What works for one might not work for another.
Exactly.
And that's why having a good relationship with your vet is so important.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
They can give you personalized advice, based on your pet's specific needs.
They're like our pet partners in crime.
I like that. And speaking of partners, it's important to remember that pet ownership often involves a whole team of people,
True.
like family members who help with walks, or feeding friends who pet sit, or even professional groomers and trainers.
It takes a village.
It does. And speaking of support, it's important to acknowledge the emotional side of pet ownership, too.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not always easy.
It's not.
There will be challenges like behavioral problems, health issues, or even, the eventual loss of a pet.
Yeah, that's the hardest part.
It is. But it's important to acknowledge those challenges and to seek support when you need it.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And while those tough times are a reality, the joy and love that our pets bring us is so worth it.
It is. And I think this guide does a great job of reminding us of that.
I agree.
It talks about the incredible rewards of pet ownership, the unconditional love, the companionship, the laughter.
It makes all the hard work worthwhile.
It does.
And I love how pets bring people together.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Like you'll meet other dog owners at the park or you'll share funny pet photos online.
Right. It creates a sense of community.
It does.
And let's not forget about the health benefits.
Oh, yeah. Those are important too.
Studies have shown that being around pets can lower stress, reduce blood pressure, and even improve our mood.
It's like they have this magical power to make us feel better.
They do. So going back to that idea of pet ownership being a journey of discovery, how can we keep learning and growing as pet parents?
That's a great question. I think one of the best things we can do is stay curious
I agree.
and keep learning about our pets' needs and behaviors.
There are so many resources out there,
There are.
like books, articles, online forums, social media groups.
Yeah, there are tons of online communities where you can connect with other pet owners.
Right. It's like a giant support group.
It is. And just observing our pets can teach us so much.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Paying attention to their body language, their vocalizations, their routines.
You can learn so much about their personality and what they like.
Exactly. The more we understand them, the better we can care for them.
Absolutely. It's all about building that connection.
And speaking of understanding, it's important to remember that not every pet fits the stereotype.
Oh, that's so true. We tend to have these ideas about certain breeds or species.
Yeah.
But just like humans, every pet is an individual. Right.
And that's part of what makes them so special.
I agree. It's about celebrating their uniqueness.
And embracing their quirks.
Exactly. But, pet ownership isn't for everyone.
That's true.
It's a big responsibility.
It is.
And it takes a lot of time, energy, and resources.
You got to be ready for that commitment.
Yeah, it's not a decision to take lightly.
Definitely not.
But for those who are ready, it's one of the most rewarding things in life.
I couldn't agree more. And I think this guide does a great job of showing both the practical and emotional sides of pet ownership.
I agree.
It's a great resource for anyone who wants to learn more about their pets and build a strong bond with them.
And it reminds us to find joy in the simple moments.
Yeah.
Like cuddling on the couch, playing fetch, or just listening to a cat purr.
Those are the moments that make it all worth it.
They really are. And this guide also reminds us that our pets are masters of living in the present moment.
Oh, yeah. They don't worry about the past or the future.
They just enjoy the now.
Exactly. It's something we can all learn from. Definitely.
Yeah.
So maybe they're our little Zen masters.
I love that. They teach us to slow down, appreciate the little things, and live life to the fullest.
And speaking of living life to the fullest, I think one of the best things we can do for our pets is create a healthy and enriching environment for them.
Absolutely.
And that goes beyond just the basics of food, water, and shelter.
It does.
It's about making them feel safe, loved, and stimulated.
Right. It's about understanding their instincts and getting them opportunities to do what comes naturally to them.
Like creating a little pet paradise.
I love that.
Now, we might not be able to recreate their natural habitats perfectly,
True.
but we can try to provide them with experiences that tap into their natural behaviors.
Exactly. And that can take so many different forms.
It can.
Like giving them toys and puzzles, letting them explore, encouraging them to socialize, teaching them new skills.
It's all about keeping their minds and bodies engaged.
It is. And it's so rewarding to see them thrive.
It is. And it reminds us that they're capable of so much more than we often realize.
They are. They're intelligent, adaptable creatures who need stimulation and enrichment.
Right. They're not just furry little lumps on the couch.
Definitely not. And when we give them those opportunities, they really shine.
They do.
And that's one of the amazing things about pet ownership.
It's a journey of growth and discovery for both of us.
It is. And even though there will be challenges along the way, the love, laughter, and companionship make it all worthwhile.
I couldn't agree more.
Well said. So let's move on to the final part of our deep dive, where we'll leave our listeners with some things to think about as they continue on their pet parenting journey.
And we're back for the final part of our deep dive into the world of pet care.
It's been a blast, hasn't it?
It really has. We've covered so much. But for me, the biggest takeaway has been, realizing that each pet is truly an individual.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We can't just lump them all together and say, okay, this is how you take care of a dog, or this is how you take care of a cat.
Exactly. They have their own personalities, their own quirks, their own likes and dislikes.
And their own ways of showing love.
It's true. So we're always learning and adjusting, trying to figure out what makes them tick.
It's a beautiful thing, isn't it? That constant process of discovery and connection.
It is. So thinking back to all the amazing things we learned from this guide, how to take care of pets, like a pro, I want to ask our listeners a question.
I like where this is going.
How can you enrich the life of your pet based on their specific personality and needs?
That's a great question. It really makes you think outside the box, you know? It's about going beyond the basics and figuring out what truly makes your pet happy.
Right. Like if you have a dog who's super energetic and loves to learn,
Yeah.
maybe you could look into agility training or dog sports.
Yeah. Or if you have a cat who's more on the shy side and loves to chill,
Yeah.
maybe create a cozy space for them with lots of vertical space like cat trees and scratching posts and puzzle toys.
It's all about catering to their individual preferences and finding what brings them joy.
And remember, there's no one right answer.
That's true.
It's a journey of discovery, and you'll figure it out as you go along.
Exactly. It's a lifelong process of learning and adapting.
And it's filled with so much love and laughter and companionship along the way.
So to all our listeners out there, I encourage you to embrace this journey.
Yes.
Keep learning, keep exploring, and keep showering your pet with all the love and attention they deserve.
They deserve it.
Because in the end, that's what truly makes it all worthwhile.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.